just tell me a little bit about, you were telling me earlier about how you liked training. Just tell me even why you like training people.
Well, I like the interpersonal part of it. I like to see somebody to learn something that initially they don't think they can learn. They think it's above them. And I like to just show them in a process where I take it in small pieces and let them digest each piece until they got the process down and they feel comfortable with it. And it makes them feel good when they're done, that they're doing something they never thought they'd be able to do.
And where did you work?
I worked in New United Motors.
And what was your job there?
I was paint mix team leader.
Okay, and explain what other kind of jobs have you done? You were there for how many years?
I was at NUMMI for 25 years.
Okay, and name some of the jobs that you've done there?
I started out on the motor line, and there I started out as an assembler, just putting parts on the engine. Then I became a team leader there, and I had 7 people that I helped through, and I would just help them if they got in trouble, make sure they had parts, relieve them if they had to use the restroom,
yeah,
or any of those type of things, and assisted a lot of repair, just anything that needed to be repaired I would do, and assisted my group leader in anything he may need.
Okay, and can you describe a time, for example, when you've had to train somebody new? Let's say in the paint mixing side of things. Like, what did you do? How did you brand new person, walk me through the process of how you would train them?
Okay, when I had a brand new person come into the mix room, what would happen is we would sit down and I would go over, I would write processes ahead of time of everything we were going to do, detailed processes. And we'd sit down and we'd go over the first process that we're going to learn and just sit down and review it. Then I would take them and then I would give them an overview of the whole mix room, of everything we did, how the systems operated, and just a basic overview. Something that obviously they couldn't take it all in at one time, but it would give them a basic understanding. And then what we would do is I would take them and they go through my day with me, which they'd always have to do. And then we would take it and we'd take that first step and we'd just start working on that first step. And we'd repeat it over and over until they totally understood it and I could see that they felt comfortable. Then the following day or days later, whatever, when they're comfortable, then I'd let them do it on their own, with me kind of just watching over their shoulder without them knowing it, kind of. And then when I saw that they were comfortable with that, then I'd leave them on their own, and I'd tell them, I'd always try to use positive motivation, you know, by letting them know you're doing a great job. Everything is good. You understand. You learn quick. And, you know, when I can see them smiling and, you know, I know that, you know, they got it down, then we'd move to the next step until we completed the job. And then once we have the whole thing completed, then what I would try to do is when, like, someone comes in the mix room and they want to know something, I would send them with this new person for them to explain to the new person what is going on here and how this is done. And then I can see that, you know, they own this job now. This is theirs, you know, and they feel comfortable enough with this job that they can explain it to somebody else. They can train somebody else. And then I know my job's done. And that's what I enjoy doing.
Can you explain how you would, let's say someone's doing something and you're like checking in, you see maybe they're making a bit of a mistake or you need to correct them. How would you go about giving them feedback?
Yeah, well, in that circumstance, what I'll do is I'll come over and I'll just, you know, kind of nudge in, you know, hey, you know, can you realize what you're doing here? You know, that, you know, you should be doing it this way, but you're kind of going this way on your own. Why don't we just go back to my way for now, you know, until you got this down pat. And then once you have it down pat, maybe you can switch a little bit on your own, but let's get it back to my way. And then usually they, you know, they're pretty receptive with you. I don't like to yell at them or, you know, scare them away.
And you weren't, but you didn't mind it if they, once they knew the process, so then they could kind of do some independent stuff? Like how'd that work?
No. Once they knew the process, then yes, if they wanted to change something, then what they would have to do, then always come to me and then explain to me what you want to change, and then I'll look at it, see if that's feasible or whether it's going to help us. And if it's going to help us, it's going to save us, then I want that information. I want to know what you want to do, because that's the only way we're going to make things better in the future, is by continually improving what we're doing. But then I would take it to my superiors if I need to. You know, we have to go through the chain of command before we change anything.
Okay.
So,
but if it was made it better, then it could happen.
If it made it better, that's all we wanted.
Okay.
You know, and that's any time that someone can come up to you with a better way, that's another way to show that they feel they own it. I know it, and I know if we do this is going to make it better. And to come to me and tell me that makes me feel good, because now I know, you know, you feel good enough that you're looking at it, you're analyzing what you learned. And you can't do that unless you really know it. So,
well, thank you very much.